Hi guys, welcome to Myth, Magic, and History. Today we are celebrating a very important holiday. It's Chinese New Year's. So happy Chinese New Year's to everybody out there who celebrates it. Today we are going to honor the Jade Emperor and Kuan Yin, the goddess of mercy and compassion, and he is the king of the heavens, or emperor of the heavens, I should say. He is in charge of organization, truth, justice. He's the protector of man. He's wisdom. He's so many things, and he's a good guy to have on your side. Now we're gonna dive into the tale of the herd boy and the weaving maiden. Sorry, I just wanted to give myself a second there because I know I was speeding up talking. So the story of the herd boy and the weaving maiden is about a herd boy whose parents have passed away. And so he has to live with his brother and sister-in-law. And I can just feel the shudders coming from the people who have had this experience and it has not turned out well. Well, you're on the right intuition right there, because this brother does not like the Cowherd, and his sister-in-law can't stand him either. So they pretty much torture him for whatever reason. They just do not like him, and they drive him from the house. So he leaves and has no place to go. He has no money, and this farmer takes pity on him and says, "Hey, I will cut you a deal. I will let you have room in the cowshed if you watch my ox." He said, "You'll get one meal a day. You just gotta watch him, take care of him." And the herd boy was like, "Hey, that's pretty sweet. Thank you so much." He was super grateful. And so he's watching this cow or ox, and he's going, "I don't think you're a normal cow or ox." Why? Because he's got golden hair that glows in the moonlight. So he's pretty sure something divine is up with this cow. And he's right. This cow is a star that's just been visiting Earth in the form of a cow. So he knows, something's going on with this cow. And one day, after a long time, this cow suddenly goes, "Hey bro, I want you to get married." And the boy was like, "That cow just talked to me." "What?" And so the cow explains his origins and that his time on Earth will be ending soon. And before he passes, he would really like this boy to get married. He wants to see him kind of live happily ever after. And the cowherd is like, "Well, that would be great, but the only females I know are the other animals on the barn, and I'm not, no." I'm sorry, that's not what he said. I'm sorry. The cow obviously understands that this poor cowherd doesn't know any women. And he says, "It's okay. I have an idea for you. On the 7th month, on the 7th night, 7 weaving maidens descend from the sky, and they all bathe in the river. So I want you to go and steal the 7th daughter's robe." And the boy's like, "Oh, that would be a good idea, except at this time, I will never make it in time." So this cow's like, "Once again, I've got you. You're my friend. Let me help you out." And he takes the boy on his back and takes him to the river, whereas then the boy hides behind a jade tree. And he's waiting, and soon he hears chuckling and giggling and splashing in the water, so he knows the weaving maidens have arrived. And he peeks out behind the tree, and then he does some stealthy crawling, and he pinches the 7 dress, or the robe, rather, and he goes back into hiding. And he just waits, and the first 6 older sisters arise from the water, and they're all getting dressed, and the seventh one is just, she's frantic. She can't find her robes. She's like, I can't go back to heaven without my robes. And so the oldest sister kind of is like, I know somebody took the robes, and you can come out now and return them, because our father is the Jade Emperor, and he knows exactly how to deal with mortals like you. Give us back our sister's robe. So the boy feels this like urge to act, and boldly he steps out from behind the tree, and he's like, I'm the one who took it. I have it right here, and I will gladly give it back as long as the seventh daughter marries me. Her sisters are all picking fun of her at this point. They're joking, they're teasing her. And the seventh weaving maiden is angry. She's angry, like, how dare he do this to her? But at the same time, she's also like, wow, that's, a mortal. That's pretty brave. And then she's thinking about, he doesn't really look that bad for a human. And she's contemplating him, even though she's mad. And she's pretty much like, give me back my robe. And he pretty much agrees to. And then he asks her again, and she's like, I'm going to think about it. Where he gets the help is from the oldest sister. And the oldest sister says, and she's partially joking, but she's like, sister, not every day does a man want to marry a cloud. Like, especially one that's handsome. That's handsome as he is, rather. So the seventh daughter kind of tosses it around, and she's like, you're right. How many times have I gotten asked to be married in forever? So she accepts, and she lives on Earth with the Cowherd, and the rest of her sisters go back to the heavens. So she takes the form of, like, the most beautiful maiden that you have ever seen. And from that point on, the Cowherd's prosperity, his everything just goes up for him. The farmer adopts him as a son. He gives him land, cattle, everything for his wedding day. And then he's blessed with twin children from his wife. For 3 years, the only sadness they really knew was that the cow had passed away. He went back to the constellation in the heavens. So the boy did miss him, but everything else in his life was just amazing. Until about 3 years in, that's when the mother of the heavens, she kind of noticed that her daughter was missing, and you have to understand that time in the heavens was different than Earth, so it's probably only been a few days, and she's noticing that the sunset is not as red as it should be. Where is her daughter? Why is she slacking off? So she used her all-seeing eye, and she gazes down on the earth, and she finds her daughter married, living in a hovel. Now, don't get me wrong. It was a cute little hovel. It was something they could afford. They were happy with it. But Mama was like, heck no, my baby is not living in that. And she sends a raging thunderstorm, and then her soldiers come down and tell the weaving maiden, if you do not come back to the heavens, we're going to kill your family, and that's that. We're going to kill them, and we're going to take you back. So, knowing that she has no choice, and that she doesn't want to leave the husband that she loves, she goes with them. She's leaving her children and her husband, and she goes back to the heavens. And of course, this leaves the poor Cowherd just heartbroken. He is devastated at the loss of his love. So he goes out and he looks at the sky, and he sees the constellation of where his friend went back to. And he all of a sudden goes, I kept his hide. So he goes and he pulls it down, he places it on the floor, and he sits on it. And like the cow had flown him to the river, the hide rises like a magic carpet and flies him to the palace of the Jade Emperor, where he lands in the throne room of the Heavenly Mother. And he gets on his knees and he prays to her and he says, please, please return my love, because I love her and she loves me, so we should be together for as long as that would be. And, Mama's not happy because you didn't really ask permission to be with her baby and she doesn't find the conditions suitable. Angry, she takes a hairpin out and she flings it across, which we would recognize as the Milky Way, but to the Chinese it's known as the Silver River. And she leaves the cowherd on one side and the weaving maiden is on the other. And so they're looking at each other and gazing at each other all year long. So the Heavenly Mother takes pity, and on the 7th day of the 7th month, a magic bridge comes across the Milky Way and allows the cowherd and the weaving maiden to be together once again. So that is why it's looked at as kind of a Chinese Valentine's Day. It shows a lot of the rhythmic flow that happens throughout Chinese mythology. It's based on yin and yang. That's a very big concept in a lot of their myths. And then it kind of shows, like, back in the day, how the calendar followed us. You would have workers going away in the spring, and then in the fall coming back. A lot of marriages happened in the fall to the winter, and then in the winter the men and women were together. But before they went back to work in the spring, there was always a festival of dance. So the cowherd and the weaving maidens, the 7th of 7th, or the double 7th, is one of the many festivals that mark the flow of the Chinese calendar. And I just thought it was a great story to tell on Chinese New Year. I hope I did it justice. I got a little bit, I think, tongue-tied at the end of my explanation there. But I do hope you enjoyed this fantastic myth on this fantastic holiday. And I wish you all a very happy, prosperous, new